The candles had burned so low they were barely flickering when my phone finally rang. I'd been sitting at our dining room table for 3 hours, trying to keep my newborn son from crying while a perfectly good anniversary dinner went cold. My hands trembled as I reached for my cell, expecting Kirk's voice with some elaborate excuse about being stuck at work. Instead, I heard my mother's practiced socialite tone. Michaela, darling, I thought you should know before you see it on Instagram. Kirk took Lexus to Bellini's tonight. I almost dropped my phone. What do you mean he took Lexus? Your sister needed cheering up after that awful breakup, and Kirk was being a gentleman. Really, dear, you can't expect him to just sit at home every night with a crying baby. The room started spinning. Mom, it's our wedding anniversary. Oh, a pause. Well, you're not exactly in party shape anyway, are you? It's only been 2 weeks since the birth. I looked down at my carefully chosen dress, the one I'd squeezed myself into, despite still carrying baby weight. The table was set with our best china, Kirk's favorite wine breathing in crystal glasses. Our son Eli slept peacefully in his bassinet beside me, unaware that his world was about to shatter. Where exactly at Bellini's are they sitting? I heard myself ask, my voice unnaturally calm. The private room upstairs, but Michaela, don't you dare. I ended the call and dialed Kirk's number, straight to voicemail. Then Lexus. Same thing. With shaking hands, I opened Instagram. There it was, my sister's latest story, posted just minutes ago. A boomerang of champagne glasses clinking, Kirk's Rolex visible in the shot. The caption read, "Sometimes the best nights are unexpected." I must have made some kind of sound because Eli stirred and began to fuss. I lifted him automatically, his tiny body warm against my chest as tears started rolling down my face. "Shh, baby," I whispered, rocking him gently. "Mommy's got you." My phone buzzed again. A text from my father. "Your mother told me what happened. Don't make a scene. Kirk's been under a lot of pressure lately." Another buzz. My mother again. "Really, darling, you should have known something like this might happen. Lexus has always been the more vibrant one." I sat there in the candlelight, my newborn son against my heart, reading message after message from my family, essentially telling me that my husband taking my sister on a date on my anniversary was somehow my fault. The next morning, Kirk finally came home. I was in the nursery, having spent the night there after crying myself hollow. "Mick, don't be dramatic," he said from the doorway, not even looking guilty. "It wasn't what you think." "Really?" "Because I think my husband took my sister to our anniversary dinner while I sat here alone with our 2-week-old son." He ran a hand through his hair, irritated. "Look, Lexus needed someone to talk to. She's going through a rough time." "And I'm not. I just had your child." "That's different. You're a mother now. Your sister. She's still young, still living life. You remember what that was like, right?" The casual cruelty of his words hit me like a physical blow. I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw something I'd been missing for years. The way his eyes slid away from mine. The perfect crease in his shirt that shouldn't have been there after a night at a restaurant. "How long?" I asked quietly. He didn't pretend not to understand. "Mick, how long?" "6 months." He had the audacity to look annoyed, as if my questioning was an inconvenience, but it just happened. We didn't plan it. 6 months, before I even got pregnant. While I was teaching elementary school and dreaming of starting our family, while my sister was having Sunday dinners with us, bringing me prenatal vitamins and helping plan the nursery. I walked to the window, Eli secure in my arms, and watched the sunrise paint our manicured lawn gold. Everything looked exactly the same as it had yesterday, but nothing would ever be the same again. "You should leave," I said softly, not turning around. "Both of you should leave this house right now." "Don't be ridiculous. Where would I go?" I finally turned to face him, and something in my expression made him step back. "I don't care where you go, but if you're not out of this house in an hour, I'm calling every client you have and telling them exactly what kind of man handles their investments." Looking down at my sleeping son, I whispered words that would shape the next decade of our lives. "You'll never need anyone but me, baby. And one day, they'll all regret this. Your account has been frozen." The bank teller's words hit me like ice water. "I'm sorry, but Mr. Allen's name is primary on all joint accounts, and he's requested." "He's requested what exactly?" I shifted Eli in my arms, trying to maintain composure. To leave his wife and newborn son without access to money? She looked uncomfortable. I can't discuss the details, but you'll need his permission to. Never mind. I walked out, dignity intact, until I reached my car. Then the tears came. My phone buzzed. A text from Gabriella, my college roommate. I'm outside your house with pizza and wine. Don't argue. An hour later, we sat on my living room floor while Eli slept nearby. I'd just finished telling her everything. Those absolute monsters, Gabriella said, refilling my glass. Your own sister? And your parents are defending them? I showed her my mother's latest text. Kirk's lawyer says you're being unreasonable about the custody arrangement. Just sign the papers, darling. You can't raise a baby alone anyway. Watch me, I muttered, then broke down again. But how? I have nothing. They've taken everything. Gabriella grabbed my laptop. Show me that online mom group you mentioned, the one where you sold Eli's extra swaddles last week. It's just a Facebook group. Some moms like the organic blankets I'd bought before. Everything. How much did you make? Almost $200, but that was just luck. No, Gabriella cut in, her fingers flying over the keyboard. That was business. Look at these mom groups, thousands of members, all looking for eco friendly baby items. She turned the screen toward me. You know what's trending in baby products. You've done all the research. Why not start there? I wiped my eyes. Start what? A business. Something small at first. Buy and resell, then maybe develop your own products. I work in marketing. I can help. A knock at the door interrupted us. My father stood there, looking uncomfortable. Michaela, be reasonable. Kirk is willing to be generous with the settlement if you don't fight the custody arrangement. I felt something snap inside me. Generous? He wants me to agree to supervised visitation of my own son because he claims I'm emotionally unstable. He's living with my sister in the apartment I helped pay for, and you're here telling me to be reasonable? Your mother and I just want. Get out! My voice was steel. Tell Kirk and Lexus they can have each other. Tell Mom she can have her perfect daughter. But Eli, he's mine, and I will fight anyone who tries to take him from me. After he left, Gabriella helped me set up a basic website. We stayed up all night, photographing baby items I could sell, writing product descriptions, setting up payment processing. 3 days later, I got served with custody papers. The same day, my first batch of orders went out, 37 sales in 24 hours. A week after that, I saw the photos. Kirk and Lexus in Paris posing by the Eiffel Tower. My mother had shared them proudly on Facebook, so happy for these two lovebirds. I was sitting in my new studio apartment, surrounded by shipping boxes and baby supplies, when the photos popped up. Eli was asleep in his crib, the only piece of furniture I'd managed to keep. Delete Facebook, Gabriella said, packing another order. Focus on this instead. She held up a spreadsheet showing our first month's profits. You've already got repeat customers, 5-star reviews. People love your product curation. It's not enough, I said quietly. Not for lawyers. Not for. Then we'll make it enough. She sat beside me. You know what the best revenge is? Success. Real, undeniable success. The kind they can't ignore or dismiss. I looked at my sleeping son, then at the growing pile of orders. You really think we can make this work? I think you're already making it work, and I think this is just the beginning. That night, after Gabriella left, I received another text from my mother. Kirk and Lexus are engaged. Please don't make a scene at the wedding. It would only embarrass yourself. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop and started researching business loans, wholesale suppliers, and marketing strategies. Eli stirred in his sleep, and I touched his tiny hand. We're going to be okay, baby, I whispered. Better than okay. We're going to be extraordinary. 10 months later, I was processing our 1,000th order when Gabriella burst into our small warehouse space. Mick, she said, eyes shining with excitement, I just got off the phone with an investor. Remember that idea we had about taking this nationwide? I looked up from my laptop, where I'd been drafting plans for our own product line. What about it? She grinned. What if I told you it's not just possible? It's happening. Mommy, look. Eli pointed at the massive billboard being installed across from our office. That's our logo. I squeezed his hand, watching the tiny phoenix emblem rise against the skyline. 3 years of 18-hour days had transformed our small resale business into a multi-million-dollar eco-friendly baby empire, and nobody knew I was behind it. Ms. North, my assistant Sarah used my business pseudonym. The investors are ready for you. I knelt beside Eli. Remember what we practiced? He grinned, straightening his tiny tie. I'm the junior product tester. I only speak when asked about the toys and clothes. That's my boy. The boardroom fell silent as we entered. Eli charmed them immediately, professionally demonstrating our new organic teething toys while I presented our expansion plans. Nobody questioned why a 5-year-old was in a major investor meeting. In our company, it made perfect sense. Afterward, Gabriella rushed in with her tablet. Have you seen this? She pulled up a society page article. Power couple Kirk and Lexus Allen host charity gala. The photo showed them posed in designer clothes, champagne in hand, but their smiles seemed strained. Keep reading, Gabriella urged. Below their photo was a smaller one, our new product launch event. Anonymous CEO of Tiny Phoenix steals spotlight at Allen Charity Gala. The mysterious founder's innovative, eco friendly line garnered more attention than the hosts themselves. They have no idea it's you, Gabriella whispered. You were in the same room, and they didn't even notice. I remembered how I'd kept my back turned when they'd walked past, how Lexus had actually picked up one of our catalogs and gushed about the designs. The irony was delicious. Sarah, I called, schedule a meeting with legal. I want to discuss expanding into luxury baby goods. That's the Allens' target market, Gabriella noted. Their boutique baby shop is their only successful venture. I know, later that night, after putting Eli to bed, I found an email from my mother, her first contact in years. Darling, I saw the most wonderful baby products at Lexus's charity event. You should see how well she and Kirk are doing. They're expecting their first child. Isn't it time you moved on? Let the past go? I clicked delete and opened my project files instead. Our new luxury line would launch exactly when Lexus's baby was due. Every major retailer would be carrying our products. Their boutique wouldn't stand a chance. You're playing a long game, Gabriella said over our weekly strategy dinner. But aren't you tired of living in the shadows? The press is desperate to know who's behind Tiny Phoenix. The mystery makes us more interesting. I sipped my wine. Besides, I'm not ready yet. Ready for what? For them to know exactly who they're losing to. The next morning, Eli came running into my home office. Mom, look what I found! He held up an old photo album. Inside was a picture from my wedding day. Kirk, Lexus, my parents, all beaming at the camera. I looked so young, so trusting. Who are they? Eli asked. I closed the album gently. People who taught Mommy a very important lesson about trust. Did they hurt you? Yes, baby. But they also made me stronger. I pulled him close. They made me fight harder to give you everything you deserve. That afternoon, I had another board meeting. Our numbers were soaring. The mysterious founder narrative had created a cult following. Mothers trusted us because we weren't just another corporate face, we were one of them. There's acquisition interest, our CFO reported. Several major companies want to talk, including Allen Investments, Sarah added quietly. The room went still. Everyone knew I never worked with Kirk's investment firm, but nobody knew why. Tell them what we tell everyone, I said calmly. Tiny Phoenix isn't for sale, at any price. Later, I found a magazine on my desk, Lexus on the cover, cradling her baby bump. From party girl to power mom, Lexus Allen's inspiring journey. Gabriella appeared in my doorway. Don't let it get to you. Their whole life is smoke and mirrors. I know. I traced our company logo on my desk. That's why I'm going to blow all those mirrors down, one by one. How? I smiled, thinking of the plans I'd been quietly putting in place for years. By giving them exactly what they want: attention, more attention than they ever dreamed of. You're ready to come out of the shadows? Not yet. I looked at the billboard visible through my office window. But soon, very soon. The phoenix on our logo seemed to glow in the setting sun, its wings spread wide, ready to rise. Kirk Allen's investment firm under federal investigation. The headline flashed across my phone as I walked into our headquarters, now a gleaming tower in downtown Manhattan. 10 years had passed since that anniversary dinner, and Karma was finally making her appearance. Mom, I got an A on my history project. Eli, now 12, bounded out of the elevator. He spent afternoons in our company's learning center with other employees' kids. That's wonderful, sweetheart. I hugged him, noticing how he was almost as tall as me now. Did you see the news about Dad? He looked uncomfortable. Yeah, some kids at school were talking about it. Before I could respond, Gabriella rushed over. Emergency meeting. Now. In the conference room, she pulled up multiple news sites. Kirk's face was everywhere, looking significantly older than I remembered. Lexus appeared in several photos, designer sunglasses hiding most of her face as she rushed from reporters. They're saying he lost billions, Gabriella said. Ponzi scheme allegations, and that's not all. She switched to another article. Your parents mortgaged their estate to invest with him. They're about to lose everything. I sat back, letting it sink in. And Lexus? Filing for divorce. Apparently, she found him in their Hampton house with their 22-year-old nanny. Gabriella's smile was fierce. Karma's not just a bitch, she's your best friend. Sarah appeared at the door. Ms. North? The realtor called. The Ross estate goes to auction next month. My parents' home, the place where they'd hosted Kirk and Lexus's engagement party while I sat in a tiny apartment counting baby formula coupons, where they'd planned elaborate birthdays for Lexus's children while sending Eli generic gift cards. Buy it, I said quietly. Through a shell company. Don't let them know who's bidding. There's more, Sarah hesitated. Your mother is in the lobby. The room went silent. I hadn't seen my mother in person since that night 10 years ago. Security wants to know if they should escort her out. I checked my reflection in the window. Success looked good on me: designer suit, subtle jewelry, confidence that money couldn't buy. Send her up. My mother had aged dramatically. Her perfectly maintained appearance had slipped, showing the cracks beneath. She stood in my office doorway, clutching a designer bag that was at least 5 seasons old. Michaela, she whispered, this is all yours? Tiny Phoenix? Yes, all mine. Well, Gabriella's too. I gestured to my friend who stood protectively nearby. But how? When? I started it the week Kirk left, while you were all celebrating his engagement to Lexus. She sank into a chair. We never knew. All these years we've been buying your products for the grandchildren. Ironic, isn't it? I kept my voice neutral. Now, what do you want? We're going to lose everything, she whispered. The house, our savings. Kirk promised us it was safe. He promised, like he promised to love and cherish me. She flinched. Michaela, please, we're still family. Family? I laughed softly. Where was family when I needed you? We made mistakes, terrible mistakes. But please, your father is ill. We have nowhere to go. Before I could respond, Eli appeared in the doorway. He froze, staring at my mother. Eli? Her voice cracked. Is that. Oh my God. He looked exactly like Kirk at that age. Same height, same features, but with my determination in his eyes. Eli, this is your grandmother, I said calmly. She was just leaving. No, please. She reached for him. I've missed so much. We all have. Lexus's children barely know us anymore. Kirk hasn't spoken to us in months. You're all we have left. I pressed the intercom. Sarah, please escort my mother out. Michaela, wait! She grabbed my desk. The auction. The house. Please, help us keep it. We'll do anything. I studied her desperate face. Anything? Yes, whatever you want. Tell everyone the truth. About Kirk. About Lexus. About how you treated me. But our reputation is already destroyed, I finished. The only question is whether you want to salvage any dignity from the wreckage. Security appeared at the door. My mother stood shakily. 1 week, I said. Think about it. Then come back with Kirk and Lexus. All of you will discuss terms. After she left, Eli touched my arm. Mom, are you okay? I pulled him close, breathing in the scent of his hair. I'm perfect, baby. Everything is exactly as it should be. Gabriella watched through the window as my mother's taxi pulled away. You're really going to help them? Help them? I smiled. Oh no, I'm going to make them earn every inch of mercy they're begging for. And Kirk and Lexus? They'll come, I said, touching the phoenix pendant at my throat. They have nowhere else to go. They arrived exactly 1 week later, looking like extras from a tragedy. Kirk's designer suit was wrinkled, Lexus's roots were showing, and my parents seemed to have aged another decade. They sat in my conference room like prisoners awaiting sentence. Nice office, Kirk said, attempting his old charm. You've done well for yourself. No thanks to you. I remained standing, Gabriella silent but watchful beside me. Let's skip the small talk. You're here because you're desperate. Michaela, please, Lexus whispered. Her hands shook as she clutched her purse. They're freezing all our accounts. The press won't leave us alone. My children. Don't! My voice could have frozen fire. Don't you dare use children to manipulate me. My mother reached across the table. We've learned our lesson, darling. We were wrong, so terribly wrong. Wrong? I laughed softly. You weren't wrong, mother. You were cruel. Calculated. You all were. I turned to Kirk. How's the nanny? He flinched. Lexus made a small, wounded sound. She's 19, actually, I continued. Not 22. My security team is very thorough. You've been watching us? Kirk straightened. For 10 years. Every investment, every affair, every lie. I placed a folder on the table. Would you like to see the photos? The bank statements? The private investigator reports? Why? Lexus whispered. Why track us? Because I knew this day would come, when your house of cards would collapse, when you'd have nowhere to turn except the sister you betrayed. My father spoke for the first time. What do you want from us? Everything. I sat down finally, smoothing my skirt. The house, what's left of your savings, Kirk's remaining assets, all of it signed over to me. That's insane, Kirk protested. We can't. You can, and you will, because I'm your only option. I smiled. But that's not all. Gabriella distributed tablets to each of them. On the screens was a contract. What's this? My mother asked. A documentary deal. Your stories, your names, your faces, every detail of what you did to me, told to the world. No? Lexus stood up. Absolutely not. My children will learn what their mother did sooner or later. Wouldn't you rather control the narrative? Kirk scanned the contract. This would destroy us completely. You're already destroyed, I pointed out. I'm offering you a chance to own it, to show remorse. The public loves a redemption story. And if we refuse? My father asked quietly. I pressed a button on my phone. Sarah, send in Eli, please. My son entered, tall and confident in his school uniform. Kirk's face went white. Hello, father, Eli said coolly. Aunt Lex's. Grandparents. Lexus started crying. My mother reached for him, but he stepped back. Eli has been accepted to Princeton, I said proudly. Early admission. He's 12. Just like you were, my mother whispered. Yes, but unlike you did with me, I've set up a trust fund to support his dreams. I touched Eli's shoulder. Would you like to tell them what you're studying? Business and law, he said clearly. I'm going to help run Tiny Phoenix one day. Kirk stood abruptly. This is manipulation. No, Eli responded before I could. This is consequences. Mom taught me about those. After Eli left, I laid out photos from the past decade. Holidays they'd missed, awards, ceremonies they hadn't attended, a lifetime of moments they'd thrown away. You have 24 hours to decide, I said. Sign everything over and do the documentary, or I'll release every piece of evidence I have to the press, every affair, every fraudulent transaction, every cruel text message. You'd destroy your own family? My mother asked. You did that 10 years ago. I'm just making it official. They left in silence, broken and bewildered. Gabriella watched them go. They'll sign, she said confidently. Of course they will. I walked to the window. They care more about appearances than anything else. A controlled demolition is better than a public execution. And after, when it's all done? I touched the glass, watching their expensive cars pull away. Then they'll know what it feels like to rebuild from nothing, like I did. Mom? Eli appeared again. Did I do okay? I hugged him tight. You were perfect. But are you sure you're okay with all this? With everyone knowing? He looked at me with eyes too wise for his age. I'm proud of you, Mom. You turned their cruelty into success, into something good. I love you, baby. Love you too. He grinned suddenly. Think Aunt Lexus noticed I was wearing a tiny phoenix tie? I laughed. Probably not, but she will when she watches the documentary. My phone buzzed. A text from Kirk. We'll sign, all of us, but I hope you know what you're doing. I smiled, remembering his words from 10 years ago. I always know exactly what I'm doing. The documentary crew transformed my office into an interview set. Kirk sat uncomfortably under the lights, his lawyer hovering nearby as the director adjusted the camera. Just tell your story, the director said. Start from the beginning. Kirk loosened his tie. I don't know where to begin. Begin with the night you took my sister to dinner, I said from behind the camera. Our anniversary dinner. He flinched. Michaela, please, do we have to do this? Every detail. I nodded to the director. Rolling. I. Kirk stared directly into the lens. I betrayed my wife. She'd just given birth to our son, and I took her sister to our anniversary dinner. Why? Because I could. Because I was selfish. Because Lexus was. He stopped, looking sick. Say it. Because Lexus was younger, exciting, not tied down with a baby. His voice cracked. I was a coward. Next came Lexus, mascara already smudged. I knew it was wrong. Every time I held my nephew, every time Michaela talked about her pregnancy, I knew. But I did it anyway. Did what? I pressed. I slept with my sister's husband for 6 months before she even got pregnant. I helped plan her baby shower while sleeping with Kirk. She broke down. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. My mother was worse. She dabbed at her eyes with an expensive handkerchief as she recounted her role. We chose Lexus, she admitted. Our youngest daughter was dating our eldest daughter's husband, and we chose to support them. We cut Michaela off. Financially, emotionally, we abandoned her when she needed us most. And now, the director prompted, now we're bankrupt, homeless, and the daughter we betrayed owns everything we lost. My father couldn't even look at the camera. I let my wife convince me it was for the best, that Michaela would bounce back. She always did, you see. But watching her build this empire alone, raise my grandson without us, I failed as a father. During a break, Gabriella found me in my private bathroom, gripping the sink. You okay? I thought this would feel better, I whispered. More satisfying. It's not over yet. She squeezed my shoulder. The hardest part is still coming. My interview was last. I sat in the chair Kirk had occupied, looking directly into the camera. Tell us about that night, the director said softly. I had just given birth 2 weeks earlier. I was still healing, still figuring out how to be a mother. I made dinner, lit candles, put on a dress that barely fit. I took a deep breath. And then my mother called to tell me my husband was on a date with my sister. What did you do? I survived. I built something from nothing. I raised my son to be everything his father isn't. I smiled slightly. And I waited. For revenge? For justice. The final scene was all of us together. The tension was thick enough to cut. Sign here, my lawyer indicated. One by one, they transferred everything to me: the house, the remaining assets, the rights to their stories. What happens now? Lexus asked quietly. Now you start over. Like I did. I stood up. The documentary airs next month. After that, you're free to rebuild your lives however you choose. With nothing, Kirk muttered. I had less than nothing, I reminded him. I had a newborn and frozen bank accounts. Consider yourselves lucky. My mother reached for my hand. Can we can we ever fix this? No. I pulled away gently. Some things can't be fixed, but they can be finished. After they left, Eli found me in my office, staring at the signed contracts. Did it help? He asked, making them tell the truth. I don't know yet. I looked at my son, so wise, so untouched by their poison. But I know I did the right thing. Because the truth matters? Because consequences matter. I pulled him close. Because you matter. That night, I received a text from Lexi's. I watched the rough cut. I never realized I never let myself see what we did to you, what I did. I know it's too late, but I truly am sorry." I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop and began typing. "Dear Eli, one day you'll watch this documentary and understand everything, why I built this company, why I waited so long for revenge. But what I want you to remember most is this: your mother wasn't destroyed by betrayal. She was forged by it. Love, Mom," Gabriella called as I was finishing the letter. "The early press reviews are in. They're calling it the business story of the decade." "No," I said softly. "It's a story about consequences, about karma, about justice." "About revenge?" I thought about the looks on their faces as they signed everything away. "About truth. Finally, after all these years, nothing but the truth." The premiere was held at the same theater where Kirk and Lexus had celebrated their engagement. I watched them shuffle in, looking smaller somehow as cameras flashed and reporters shouted questions. "Ready?" Gabriella squeezed my hand. I smoothed my red dress, designer, like the ones Lexus used to mock me for not being able to afford. Born ready. The documentary opened with my wedding photo. The audience fell silent as the story unfolded. Every betrayal, every cruel text, every calculated move laid bare on the giant screen. Halfway through, I heard Lexus crying somewhere behind me. When the scene played of her helping plan my baby shower while sleeping with Kirk, someone in the audience hissed, "Disgusting?" My mother's interviews drew gasps. Her casual dismissal of my pain, her social media posts celebrating their engagement, her systematic erasure of me from family events, it was all there in high definition. Then came the business footage, my tiny apartment office growing into an empire. Tiny Phoenix rising while they partied, spent, and spiraled. The parallel timelines were devastating. During the final segment, Kirk was called to the stage for a live Q&A. He stumbled slightly on the steps. "Mr. Allen," the moderator began, "after watching this, what would you say to your ex-wife?" Kirk gripped the microphone. I, his voice cracked. I never knew what losing meant until I saw everything through her words, through her eyes. He turned to face me in the audience. I lost more than money, more than status. I lost the chance to watch my son grow up, to be a father, to be a decent man. "And Ms. Allen," the moderator turned to Lexus, "your sister's company now dominates the market your boutique once served. How does that feel?" Lexus wiped her eyes. "It feels like justice. Every time I see a Tiny Phoenix product, I remember what we did to her, how we thought we were winning." She laughed bitterly. "She built an empire while we built sandcastles." My mother was next. "Vanessa, you supported your younger daughter's affair with your elder daughter's husband. What do you say to mothers watching this?" I say, "Look at what pride and social status cost me. I lost my daughter, my grandson, my soul." She turned to me, mascara streaking. "Michaela trusted us to protect her heart, and we broke it instead." The moderator finally turned to me. "Ms. North, or should I say Ms. Ross, you've been silent until now. What would you like to say to them?" I stood, feeling every eye in the theater. "I want to thank them." A confused murmur rippled through the crowd. "Thank them?" the moderator asked. "Yes, their betrayal taught me something invaluable." I walked to the stage. It taught me that rock bottom has a foundation, and on that foundation, you can build anything. Eli appeared beside me, handsome in his suit. It taught me something too. The audience leaned forward. This wasn't in the program. "What did it teach you, son?" Kirk asked hoarsely. "That success is the best revenge." Eli's voice was clear, confident. "Mom built something beautiful from something ugly. She turned betrayal into a $1 billion legacy." After the screening at the reception, my mother tried one last time. "Please, Michaela, we've lost everything. Given you everything. Can't we start fresh?" "No, mother." I sipped my champagne. "But you can start over. That's the difference." "I don't understand." "Starting fresh means pretending the past didn't happen. Starting over means building something new on the ruins of what was destroyed." I set down my glass. "I'm giving you that chance. Don't waste it." Lexus approached next, her designer dress now looking like a costume. "Your son, he's amazing." "Yes, he is." "My kids won't even talk to me now. They say I'm just like Kirk." "Then be better," I said simply, like I had to be. Kirk was the last to approach. "The company? It's worth billions now. Yes. And you did it all while I was spending my time? He stopped, looking sick. While you were spending your time destroying everything you touched? I finished for him. Yes, that's exactly what I did. Gabriella found me on the theater balcony later, watching the paparazzi swarm my family's exit. How do you feel? I thought about the decade of pain, of planning, of building. I feel light because they finally admitted everything, because Eli finally knows everything. I turned to her. He needed to understand where he came from and where he's going. And where is that? I smiled, watching my son chat confidently with business reporters below. Somewhere they can never reach him. The next morning's headlines read Tiny Phoenix founder reveals all a story of betrayal, business, and brilliant revenge. But the only headline that mattered was the one Eli had written in his school newspaper. My mother, the woman who turned pain into power. That was worth more than any revenge. The candlelight flickered across the same china plates I'd set out that fateful night. This time, though, I wasn't waiting for anyone. Eli sat across from me, his college acceptance letter placed between us like a trophy. You didn't have to recreate it, he said softly. The anniversary dinner. I needed to. I poured 2 glasses of sparkling cider. To close the circle. My phone buzzed. A news alert. Kirk Allen attempts suicide following documentary fallout. I switched it off. Did you know he would break? Eli asked. No, but I knew something would. I reached for his hand. Are you okay? I'm not the one who should be asked that question. He squeezed my fingers. The whole world knows our story now. How do you feel? Before I could answer, the doorbell rang. Security called up. Ms. Ross, your sister is here. She's not well. I found Lexus in the lobby, mascara streaked, clutching a familiar photo album. They're selling our childhood home tomorrow, she slurred. Found this in the attic. You're drunk. Always was good at stating the obvious, big sister. She swayed slightly. Remember when we used to share everything? Until you took what wasn't yours to share. She flinched. I deserve that. Deserve all of it. But Kirk, he might die. That's his choice. Like destroying us was yours? She thrust the album at me. Take it. Last piece of evidence for your perfect revenge. My revenge wasn't perfect, I said quietly. It was necessary. For what? To prove you're better than us? To prove that actions have consequences, that truth doesn't stay buried. I took the album. Go home, Lexus, to whatever home you have left. Back upstairs, Eli had moved to the window seat. Aunt Lexus looked sad. Sad is what happens when guilt finally catches up. I sat beside him, but that's not our burden to carry. My phone lit up again. Gabriella. Kirk's stable. Media's going crazy. Want me to handle it? No, I typed back. Let the truth do its work. The documentary had sparked a national conversation about betrayal, family loyalty, and revenge. Women wrote to me daily, sharing their own stories of rising from ashes. Tiny Phoenix had become more than a brand, it was a symbol. Mom? Eli's voice pulled me back. What's in the album? We opened it together. Photos spilled out. Lexus and me as children, matching dresses, shared secrets. Before ambition poisoned her heart. Before status meant more than sisterhood. She was my best friend once, I whispered. Do you miss her? I miss who she was. Before. A final photo fell out. My wedding day. Kirk kissing my cheek while Lexus caught the moment on camera. The betrayal already in motion, captured in frozen time. I have something for you, Eli said, pulling out an envelope. Inside was a letter he'd written for his college application essay. My mother taught me that success isn't about destroying others, it's about rebuilding yourself. She turned betrayal into a legacy, not just of wealth, but of truth. Some call it revenge. I call it justice. Because sometimes justice wears designer shoes and runs a $1 billion company. Tears splashed onto the paper. When did you get so wise? When I watched you rise. He hugged me tight. Every single day. The doorbell rang again. This time, my parents stood there, looking ancient. We sold the house, my father said. Got enough to rent a small apartment. Good. I started to close the door. Michaela, my mother stepped forward. We know we can never fix this, but thank you. For what? For showing us who we really were, who we became. She straightened her shoulders. We'll do better, be better, even if you never see it. I hope you do, I said honestly. But not for me, for yourselves. After they left, I returned to the candlelit table. The china gleamed, the silver sparkled, but this time there was no pain in the waiting. To new beginnings, Eli raised his glass. To truth, I answered. To consequences, he added with a smile. We clinked glasses, and I finally felt the last shard of that broken anniversary night dissolve. The revenge hadn't healed me. The truth had. The consequences had. The son who saw it all and loved me anyway had. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Kirk. Thank you for not letting me die with the lie. I deleted it without responding. Some chapters don't need an answer. Some fires need to burn themselves out. Ready for dessert? I asked Eli. Always, he grinned. But Mom? This time, let's make new memories. And so we did.